Everyone in their 20s should leave the UK and New Zealand for Australia, and here is why. Hello guys, welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to be talking about why specifically people from New Zealand and from the UK really should move to Australia in their 20s. And there's a reason why I'm speaking specifically about the UK and New Zealand. And this isn't a video to hate on either country, because New Zealand definitely has its positives. The UK, here and there, does have its positives for sure. But I think for people in their 20s who aren't set up in a career, they haven't really got any commitments, moving to Australia could be the best option for them people. Now I'm speaking about the UK and New Zealand because I've had experience of living in all three countries, and also to move from the UK or New Zealand to Australia is incredibly easy. I moved from the UK to Australia on a working holiday visa. Well, if you're from New Zealand then you'll know this, and that is that you can just move to Australia without any visa or anything. You can go there for as long as you want. It's not like the UK where there's like a 3-year maximum. If you're moving from New Zealand, you can be a resident of Australia very easily. And there is a number of reasons why I believe Australia is the best option for people to move to. And this move has become incredibly popular from both sides. Currently, New Zealand is currently seeing a record number of people leave for Australia as of 2024, and same with the UK moving to Australia on a working holiday visa. It's now at record numbers for both countries, which I think is an example of how glamorized and how good Australia looks and the issues that New Zealand and the UK are facing. It's not a coincidence that everyone's now moving to Australia. There is good reason for it, which we'll come on to in today's video. Before we get into it though, make sure you give the video a like and subscribe to the channel, and yeah, let's get into it. Now let's start off with listing a few points and reasons why Australia in your 20s is considerably better than the UK and New Zealand. Coming in with the first point, and that's the wage. I've mentioned this many times on this channel, but everywhere I've worked, Australia has by far the best wage. New Zealand and the UK, from my experience, do pay a very similar wage. I think it's fairly low, to be honest, and yeah, it's fairly similar in both countries. Australia pay considerably more than what the UK and New Zealand pay. In fact, I was getting paid probably an extra $6 an hour in Australia compared to here in the UK. In a week, it was an extra $200 a week. Obviously, that's $1,000 a month and about $12,000 a year extra just from being in Australia. So the wage in Australia is a big reason, particularly from New Zealand, why so many people are moving there. The next point is the weather. Now this is a personal point of view because for me, I like hot weather, I like the sun, I like the beaches. So Australia is definitely a better option for me. And if you're in your 20s and you do want hot weather all year round, you want the beach lifestyle, and you just want a bit of sun, Australia is obviously going to be a better option. New Zealand and the UK, for me, in my experience, have fairly similar climates. The winter doesn't get quite as cold in New Zealand, but in general I found the climate in both countries fairly similar. If you don't mind a bit of rain, a bit of inconsistent weather, and you're not really worried about the heat, then this won't apply to you. But if you're similar to me and like the sun, Australia is a very good option. Next up is the opportunity. Now I feel like Australia has a lot of opportunities for young people. This is a big reason why a lot of people are leaving New Zealand as well, and I think it's because New Zealand is a bit of a bubble. It's a smaller country, and a lot of the young people do leave because of the lack of opportunity in New Zealand. I feel like people that are here, there isn't that many people I feel like are overly ambitious and really trying to do big things with their life. I think people who are here have already made their money and are quite happy chilling out. And then, you know, people who live here are just kind of comfortable with their lives and families and stuff. A lot of uni students leave. A lot of young people looking for work do leave because there is a lack of opportunity in New Zealand. I'm in Auckland right now, which is the biggest city, and for a major city, like it's quite small and there's not a lot going on, not compared to the Australian cities. Like for example, Sydney, which is one Australian city, is like 3 or 4 times the size of Auckland. So there is a lack of opportunity in New Zealand for sure. I'd say less so with the UK. There's definitely good opportunities in the UK still because of the size of the country and the population and some of the big cities there. But for me, for young people, there's just as many opportunities in Australia, and obviously that higher wage is definitely drawing people there as well. The next thing is the lifestyle. This is more towards the UK because I don't feel like the UK lifestyle is particularly good. Australia has an amazing lifestyle, especially because of the weather and the beaches, and I've said it before, and I think I found it a lot easier to live a very healthy lifestyle in Australia, and overall my life was just better. It was more exciting. I was just living a better life. I was drinking less, I was eating healthier and doing more activities as well, a lot more than I was in the UK. New Zealand does offer a great lifestyle if you're about the hiking life and outdoor activities, but for me, out of the 3 countries, Australia definitely does offer the best sort of outdoor lifestyle. Like I said, particularly that beach lifestyle, which I think people in the UK definitely crave, and a lot of people in New Zealand do want that as well. And Australia, for me, is one of the top countries you can go to for lifestyle. Next up is meeting people. Meeting other people, backpackers and stuff like that. Now, obviously in every country you can meet people and, you know, make friends and stuff. But I think going to Australia does offer a lot more opportunity in this sense because, for example, when I moved to Australia, I've been living in the UK my whole life, in my hometown, and everyone's kind of on the same journey. No one's really too ambitious. No one was really on the same path that I was on. When I moved to Australia, I was meeting so many other backpackers, so many other people that had made the same move as me. So we had a lot in common, and I was meeting a lot of people that were doing a sort of thing with their life that I wanted to do. It was a lot more inspiring, and it was nice to meet people who have traveled and have made the move compared to them people who I'd meet back home who have just lived in their hometown their whole life and not really stepped out of their comfort zone. After living in New Zealand and Australia as well, I have to say it was a lot easier to meet people in Australia. There was a lot more young backpackers, travellers, and even then, as nice as people are in New Zealand, I did feel Aussies a little bit more open and easier to make connections with. But from a backpacker perspective, I found it a lot easier to meet people, other backpackers, other travellers in Australia compared to New Zealand. I've noticed people in New Zealand have their very close friendship groups and they kind of stick with that. In Australia, I don't know, they maybe seem a little bit more open to making friends and stuff. In terms of meeting people, again, I think Australia offers great options with this, and from my experience have met a lot of people in Australia. And also, this isn't specific to New Zealand or the UK, but it's just for a fresh start. Now, this was the best thing for me. I've been living in the UK my whole life up until I was 21, and moving to Australia just offered me that fresh start. That new start, I was able to create a new version of myself, meet new people, learn new skills, have new experiences, and it was just a complete fresh start for me, which I think was exactly what I needed. And I think it would benefit a lot of people in their 20s. If you're not that happy with your life in your home country, moving to Australia is the perfect option to have that fresh start. It's a great country you can move to because of the wages, because of the weather, and it's just a really good place in terms of opportunity as well. It's the perfect place really to have that fresh start. And you know, if you feel you've got that desire inside of you to move and start a new life, like, move to Australia, because there could not be an easier country to do it in. So a fresh start is a big reason why I think people should leave New Zealand and the UK for Australia. And there's no doubt that, well, I mean, you could say all 3 countries are facing their issues, but particularly the UK is having a lot of issues at the moment. The cost of living there is crazy, like it is in New Zealand as well, insanely expensive. Australia is expensive, but for me, they pay a much higher wage, which does balance out the cost of living to be a lot better, in my opinion, than the UK and New Zealand. So it's a much better country to save your money. And it does not have to be a permanent move. Realistically, I'm not going to permanently live in Australia, but from my experience, there couldn't be a better place that I could have lived in my 20s, because for a number of reasons. That's what I encourage from you guys. If you want to have an experience of living abroad, I'm not saying commit to moving to Australia forever, but at least be open to it for a few years in your 20s, because you'll learn so much. And realistically, I don't see why young people should stay in New Zealand or the UK in their 20s when Australia is there as an option, because for me, there's no better country to live in your 20s. So yeah, there's some reasons why people should leave the UK and New Zealand for Australia. This is no hate on the UK and New Zealand. They're both great countries in certain aspects. But I just think in terms of your life in your 20s, Australia offers so much more than both countries. New Zealand and the UK I feel like are similar in a lot of ways. New Zealand definitely wins in terms of the safety, the cleanliness, and also the nature as well, but Australia for me wins in pretty much every aspect compared to both countries. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you very soon with another video.